A to the K.
To the K.
To the K. Hello, welcome to the A2theK Wrestling Show. We are here to talk about Wales Comic Con Telford Takeover. That's right, the Comic Con called Wales Comic Con that wasn't actually in Wales. That's the one.
Yeah. Although if you're from America, you probably don't know. I didn't even know that Telford wasn't in Wales. I just fucking assumed it was.
Yeah.
But none of the signs turned Welsh, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a significantly, lack of sheep on the drive down, wasn't there? We were like,
There was.
something's wrong.
Don't isolate our Welsh audience, Cal.
I mean, to be fair, my dad's Welsh, so I can say these things.
Really? Yeah.
It's cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was born in Llandudno.
Seems Scouse as fuck as well. Madness.
He's put that on.
Can he do a bit of the old Welsh speak like, or?
You kind of think, yeah. You can probably say Glanford got on goch, whatever the fuck that thing is.
Gibbity gosh.
Yeah, that thing.
Another one.
But yeah, so I can say.
Anyway,
that.
before we further alienate our Welsh audience, so Carl, this was our first Comic Con. I think we both loved the idea of Comic Cons over the years, but we've never actually gone to one because we're lazy. And honestly, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Carl, but I feel like Comic Cons have become more recently popularized in this country. I think when we were kids, they were a lot less and a lot further afield. So this type of thing we'd love going to in our teens, but they just weren't there. And someone might correct me on that, but we didn't know about them. We barely had the internet. Fuck you.
I know. Right? It's mad, isn't it, to think we grew up in a time where we just, barely had the internet. We had dial-up modems and that. It's fun.
Like, Mom, get off the phone! That kind of approach, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
So this was our first Comic-Con, and long overdue. So we made the trip down to Wales, or Telford, as it were. So, Carl, what was your experience of the journey? How did you find the journey?
Well, you were driving, so it was, terrible. I kid. No, it was really good. It was just good. Obviously, we had a playlist. We had some snacks. And it was just fun, just shooting the shit, listening to some awesome wrestling-related songs and songs from our youth. So that was always that was all good. I think. I think it helped the fact that we obviously it felt dead quick. I think, didn't it? It wasn't like this is like 2 hours or whatever, because it was about a 2-hour trip on it, an hour and 50 minutes, something like that.
Fair enough. Yeah, and we can't grumble. And again, that's a long journey for us in the UK. Anyone listening in America is like, what, you didn't drive 8 hours? That's barely a road trip. Yeah, I get that. But this is a long trip for us, okay?
That's it. And it was early in the morning as well, because we had to make sure we got there to get in and stuff like that. But no, I think it went relatively quick. Actually getting parked wasn't great, was it?
That was probably... actually, in the grand scheme, I don't think it was that bad, but that was probably the longest bit, wasn't it? It was a straightforward journey, and it's like, right, we're going to wait forever to park. And,
I think the way the road was set up didn't help either, did it?
Yeah, because you're sat waiting to turn right and never turning right.
Yeah.
It was great. So but again, all to be expected. It was very busy Comic-Con, which is what you want. You want these things to be popular. I think we were under the impression it was going to be limited tickets because of the whole COVID situation. I don't think it was. Didn't feel like if that's limited tickets, fucking hell, on a normal week, that'd be ridiculous.
Well, I mean, obviously, we didn't have the VIP passes or super early entry or anything like that. We just had general entry tickets, so I think it was letting in from 11 o'clock, something like that.
Look,
we got
full disclosure here, and I'm not going to spend most of my time rinsing Wales Comic Con. Thoroughly enjoyed it, right? But there's a couple of little tidbits I took away from the queuing element of it. So we got parked up. Again, nice big multi-story car park, relatively easy, parked up, no problem, secure, nice. We queued up, and they had two separate queues, as Carl says. So we had a line for us, the P's, and we had a line for the VIPs. But then I would have been so annoyed if I was a VIP. Because we were getting there were people out there promoting Kinder Bueno, if you've had Kinder Buenos, and they were on our side. So none of the VIPs were getting free chocolate and stuff, and we're just there yeah, nice. And the queues seem to be moving relatively similar pace as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know what they gain from being a VIP. I really don't.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not trying to shit all over the events, but there's nobody there, was there? There was no sign posted. There was no one telling us
we were in the right queue for a little while.
Well, we nearly went to the wrong queue, didn't we? It was only because we overheard someone. because we were like, well, this is winding all the way. It was going on for ages, wasn't it? And we were like, well, this must be standard.
When the queue went into traffic, it was ridiculous.
So we were like, holy shit. But then we overheard someone, and that was the VIP queue, believe it or not. So we ended up finding our way. But yeah, so God, the entry took ages, didn't it?
It did. But there was a lot of people that had to get through that door. And I don't know what other perks you get with the VIP ticket, but from what I could see of the entry side of it, wouldn't have been worth it.
No.
But I think perks after that. I don't know.
Maybe go for early entry. That'll probably sort you out, I guess. But yeah, the in terms of like VIP entry for the 11 a.m, I wouldn't.
Well, like some super like God tickets or whatever you could get, where you just rock up, park up right outside the building and walk in straight away. Don't know what that was, but I imagine that cost a bomb, right?
Yeah.
So we queued up, and do you know what? Like, I'll give it its due. I've been in many a queue in my life, Carl, and this was one of the more enjoyable because it's just great seeing some of the different cosplay. I mean, there's so many people who just put so much effort in. Like, just in the wrestling respect, we got to see loads of Malakai's and Orange Cassidy's and various like that. You know.
One of my favourite ones that we didn't really see much of, there was a Sting and Darby couple cosplay, which was great.
Oh, yeah, they were.
And then obviously that Malachi Black and Orange Cassidy couple cosplay was awesome as well, wasn't it? So
yeah. And obviously me and Carl, we were wearing our A2theK hoodies. We got accosted by some stormtroopers who joked with us about dressing alike. There's like 12 of you guys. Anyway, all good fun.
All good fun.
And it was at this point, I think both Carl and I realised just that we're old men now, because, you know, there was a lot of girls there who were scantily clad due to their cosplay. And I think our first thoughts weren't, look at their legs or anything like normal pervy stuff. It was, they'll be cold. They'll be cold.
You can tell we're just old dads now. It's like, they must be freezing. Need to wrap up.
So there you go. So we're old men now. So all in all, I'm not going to try to be, again, too negative about the Comic-Con. I think it was brilliant. But there was a lot of the organisational issue there. So obviously we had tickets to see Bret Luchasaurus and Britt Baker, who, if you follow us on social media, you'll have seen those pictures by now. But we had tickets to see some other people, Carl, who we had some cancellations last minute, unfortunately. Jungle Boy being one of them. Again, nothing you can control in that sense, but a shame that we didn't know about them until the last minute. Yeah. Some of them and this is speculation, Carl, I think some of them, the suggestion was made that they had them, and they probably knew for a little while that they didn't have them, but didn't tell anyone, so that they wouldn't get the tickets cancelled, which is
not ideal.
I don't know if that's true, but it certainly felt that way. Because we'd heard on the grapevine that they weren't going to make it, and then that ended up being true weeks later. Again, won't moan too much about it. So, all in all, Carl, meeting Bret, you've done this before. How did you feel about it?
Oh, he's the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be, isn't he? For a reason.
Honestly, absolute legend of a guy. You get a very limited time with him with the photo ops, but such a cool guy. You know, he did a talk that unfortunately we didn't get to hear a lot of. Again, I feel like I'm going to something again. I'm not going to moan about that, but he did a talk as well. And what I liked, you know, you were doing signings, so you could at any point you could go up to the tables and have a little chat and get a signature as well. So, you know, fair play. They put the time in there. Go on, Carl.
I thought I had the slideshow prepped, but I don't. So here's us meeting Bret. Look at this. Look at this sexy man right there.
Now, Carl was absolutely determined to get this picture. Carl, do you want to tell people why you needed this picture in your collection?
Well, as Anthony said, so I have met Bret the Hitman Hart before. So he came to Manchester when I was probably about 18. I think it was in the Waterstones in the Trafford Centre, and I purchased his book, Hitman, and basically got him to sign that. And I got a picture where I got to shake his hand. He basically was like, you know, what's your name and stuff. So I told him my name, Carl with a K, wrote it all down, stuff like that. And I didn't really get to speak to him loads, but I was just kind of like, oh yeah, you know, my favourite wrestler. Got a little picture of me just standing there while he signs the book. Lost the picture, gone, absolutely gone. So I've obviously got the signed book, but I said to myself, if I ever get the chance to get a picture with Bret Hart again, I have to do it. And that's the main reason why I got these tickets. So,
did it. Back in the collection. Get in.
It is back in the collection. And, you know, again, I think experience-wise, so it's an interesting one, this. So with this being our first Comic-Con, or first kind of convention like this, I think obviously we opted for the photo ops, because we want a nice picture with the celebrities and stuff, and it's nice to have autographs and things signed, but ultimately, the photograph is the autograph of the 21st century, right? Yeah. So that's what we opted for, but it was kind of felt a little bit like a revolving door, didn't it? Where it was just everybody get in, get your picture, and get the fuck out of there.
And again, not to throw negative again, but I think some of the issue as well was that they seem to be running behind on literally every photo. I think because they were so sort of like the times were so rigid initially, when one fell behind, it was a domino effect. So they were behind on everything, so you felt even more like a revolving door, because we need to get this done. So from a control point of view, from the Comic-Con, I get what they were doing. They were trying to get things back on track. But sadly, it felt like you said, I think it felt even more so like that, because there was just like, right, let's go kind of approach, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it really was. So, I think we didn't really get a chance to really speak to Bret as such, but obviously me and Anthony walked over there. It's very good eye contact. I think he was like, looked right into my soul. I felt every minute of it. And then obviously, got to didn't get to shake his hand and stuff this time. I don't know whether that was like a COVID type thing. Did we shake his hand? I can't remember. I don't think I did.
I think I know. I don't think I made any contact with Bret, because you were like making eye contact with him at the time, so I just walked around the other side.
I was climbing him like a tree.
You got to do the old fist bump with Luchasaurus and all that much.
Yeah, I did that. But yeah, so obviously didn't really get to speak to him too much and didn't really get to shake his hand, but it was just like a nice like, oh hey Bret, how are you? I think I said something like that, and then obviously it was just like a arm on the, arm around the back, greatest arm in the world around the back there. Sorry, Anthony,
it's basically
just let me just fold this over.
Having a cuddle, and I'm like stood at the side, like, "Hey guys, I'm here too."
Oh yeah, let me in.
I feel like I just photobombed you up there, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, look at that. That's the picture.
If you look at the other pictures, I was included in those.
But no, so obviously Bret's the best to ever do it. Obviously, him and Kurt Hennig have always been vying for my favourite wrestlers of all time. So, he's an absolute legend, and I'm made up that not only have I got a picture with him again now that I've lost the other one, but the fact that we got a picture with him, and for us and for the podcast and stuff is just nice. Obviously, as we continue to grow, and if we move into a bit of a studio space at some point, obviously this
can
adorn the wall.
If the stars align, and for whatever reason we somehow manage to speak to Bret in the future, which he doesn't seem to do a lot of podcasts, but let's say somehow we manage to get him, I know you're going to show him that picture.
Oh, 100% I am. Yeah, like you remember me, don't you? I also met you when I was 18.
Bret. There'll be zero questions. It'll just be Carl family, But we'll get there one day. There one day.
But yeah, so Bret was our first photo op, wasn't he? So he was.
He was.
It was mad, really. Straight into me, Bret Hart, like.
Yeah, and we had like gaps between each one, really, didn't we? So so we had a little bit of time to have a mooch around after Bret, and do you know what? I think the place was packed. There was loads of stuff there, and probably a lot of stuff that was like lost on us a little bit, like because they're catering to everything. So like, obviously, me and Carl are mooching around for either stuff we know TV show wise or sci-fi wise, or wrestling stuff, and again, sorry, I feel like I'm the one bringing all the negative. I'm not. Comic-Con was fantastic, right? But like, I think for me, one thing was like there wasn't a lot of wrestling merch there.
No, I think there was only one store, wasn't there? It was selling like old school VHS tapes.
Yeah, or like a few of the stalls had like you could find some random wrestling figures in amongst everything else they had. But there wasn't a great deal, and I get it because it's a Comic-Con. It wasn't a specific wrestling convention, so that it wasn't all about wrestling. But like for instance, one thing that I was expecting that I just didn't see at all, and maybe I missed it, but we went around every stall as far as I'm concerned. Wrestling belts.
Yeah.
Because I warned you before this, I was like, I kind of hope they've got wrestling belts, but I kind of hope they haven't, because I'll probably walk away with one.
Yeah. And I probably would have done as well.
Yeah, and surprisingly. Because we've done that before. We've wore belt places before, Carl.
We have.
We're definitely that way out.
Yeah.
So we would definitely have bought belts. And for some reason, they just that's something that seems like you definitely have that, and they didn't. So I was quite surprised at that. But if you want to buy a sword, you can buy swords
Definitely.
Swords everywhere.
Real sharp swords.
Real sharp swords. Locked away in cages because you can't carry swords around with you, but you can buy them. Oh, yeah. You can buy them.
So they didn't have any wrestling belts. They did have a couple of VHSs. They did have some Hasbro figures, didn't they? Because I know I was tempted by getting a Mr. Perfect one, and I thought to myself, no, because if I do, I'm going to end up fucking starting a Hasbro collection. I can't do this.
Yeah. And then eventually you'll have a room full of them.
Yeah. You're saying to me, son, like, no, you can't play with my toys. Yeah, become a weird thing.
That's it. But as an aside from that, like, there was plenty of stuff. Like, both you and I are fans of Game of Thrones, for instance. So there was plenty of like different props, and like if you wanted to buy a long claw or something like that, there was loads of different stuff you could get from there.
I mean, they had the Iron Throne experience as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they had the Iron Throne. Both Carl and I opted to do that, so we got pictures of sat on the Iron Throne because we're super cool, like, and with the big dragon skull and stuff.
Yeah.
And all right, Game of Thrones, it's ended now. A lot of people didn't like how it ended, so not as sort of fever pitch as it was, but it's nice to see that those things are still around and people still love Game of Thrones, don't they? So,
and what's his face was there, wasn't he? Baratheon was there if you wanted to get a photo op.
Mark Addy.
Autograph, so he was around as well.
King Robert. Show some respect, Carl.
So obviously, there was a lot of stuff there, I think, but just not a lot of wrestling memorabilia, unfortunately, was there?
No, and that's the thing. And we knew it was going to be a mix of everything, but we love quite a lot of things, so it was always going to be fun, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Because one of the photo ops, sadly, one of the cancellations wasn't even a wrestler, Carl, was it? It was Evangeline Lilly.
It was, yeah.
Sadly, she couldn't make it, but we weren't just about wrestling.
No, exactly.
It's about the experience.
Exactly. I mean, one thing which I did enjoy, and obviously me and Anthony, even though we do a podcast, we're probably both naturally somewhat introverted, aren't we?
Yes.
And I think obviously it's quite overwhelming going to a massive Comic-Con where people are just dressed up like all sorts of crazy things, and some of them were fantastic, these cosplays as well, so massive credit to the cosplayers. But it was nice to speak to a couple of wrestling fans as well, so we didn't exactly go around and proper schmooze with load of people, but like when we were in queues and stuff, like we had a couple of people that we ended up speaking to a little bit. There was a guy who spotted us from a mile away. I don't know how he did that. Came up to see us at the very start. They had the belts and stuff as well, didn't they?
Yeah, and it was impressive, man. Like you say, I would love to have run into him again, but it's such a busy place that we didn't. But like you say, we ran into him. There was a chap. Unfortunately, we didn't take any names. So there you go. When we were queuing up for Bret, there was a chap we were chatting to just about old school wrestling. Because he's obviously a Bret fan.
Yeah, it was great that.
Because we were queued with him, we had quite a long chat with him about like all sorts of like old what we loved from the past and what's going on currently and stuff like that. It is great to sort of mix with, like you say, just other fans and get their sort of take on everything.
Yeah, I think it's mad because wrestling is such a niche.
It is.
When you think about it, like, there's not that many people that I know outside of us who are massively into wrestling. Probably a handful of people. So it's mad to, that's why part of me can't wait for the Love of Wrestling, because that's a solely wrestling convention. So everyone going there shares that same common interest with you. Whereas obviously Wales Comic Con, it was it covers, as you said, a vast amount of different fandoms, doesn't it? So it was nice that we got to speak to a couple of people who were wrestling fans in the queues and stuff. But I think I'm looking forward to a proper wrestling one as well. But
oh yeah, definitely. But so like we had that break, we had a look around, Carl, and then our next photo op, we got to meet Luchasaurus.
Yeah, we did.
And fair play to the guy. Fucking shirtless he was for that.
Crazy guy.
Countless pictures with people, and he just walking around a convention. Bear in mind, he's in the UK as well, not the warmest place in the world. He's just strutting around with his shirt off. Fair play to him.
Fucking ledge. But no, he was awesome.
First dinosaur I've ever took a picture with, so fair play.
Yeah, he's definitely. Wonder how tall he actually is, because if you think about it, like, he must be like 6.
Well, I'm not 6 foot. So he.
Are you 5'10", 5'11"?
I'm 5'10". So he's
I'm 5'8" on a good day. He says.
So he's got to be over, like, I'd say 6'2", maybe.
Yeah. Maybe even a bit taller, to be fair. But
I'm gonna Google it now.
I reckon about 6'3", 6'4". To be honest. But yeah, he was quite tall, but not like as tall as I thought he was going to be. And I think that's probably because in AEW he looks a lot bigger because a lot of the guys there are a lot smaller.
All petite wrestling, innit?
Nah.
Fuck off. That's not true.
What's to say?
I find that it's 6'5". Like, no disrespect, Luchasaurus, but bring that picture back up again. Look at me stood next to him there, right? There's definitely like a fair bit of distance there, but I'm not even 6 foot.
Okay,
so there's no way he's 6'5".
All right then, look at it this way. So if you're 5'10", imagine you got a willy on your head. Yeah, it's about 6'5", I reckon. Although if you
I don't think he's 6'5".
Use my measurements, he's probably about 7 foot. That guy.
You're very careful on the internet here to say build height as well, and we know that when they build as a height, it's not necessarily the height. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, no, he was proper sound guy. One, he was just like said hey guys and stuff like that, fist bumps on the way in. I got to tell him that I loved his shooting star press.
Got to tell him I loved him.
I got to tell him I loved him. No, I got to tell him that I loved his shooting star press he did off the ramp at Full Gear?
Full Gear?
So obviously he just kind of laughed and was like, "Oh, thanks, man." So that was cool. Nice, cool guy. Yeah, would do again. Just the commitments to it. You know what I mean? As you said, like shirtless in his mask, green tongue. Just like what a ledge. What a ledge to do that.
I tell you what, that was. I think that was the first time that the delays started happening as well, wasn't it? Like Bret ran relatively smooth, but we got to a point where the crowd were like ready to meet him, and they started chanting for him and everything because they'd just been stood there for ages, you know.
Yeah, literally started a Luchasaurus chant, didn't he?
So I think that was when the delays started, and I don't think it was massively delayed, but I think everyone was ready to meet him, so the chant started. But all good for again. Like even when you're queued up, you just look around and it's like the amount of people who've got like belts, and not just belts, like unique belts. Like someone had like a Bret Hart IC title and stuff like that, and it's like some of them had like clearly just got signatures all the way down them as well. And you're like, God, dude, like impressive stuff in it. It's like
I know,
some proper
really
memorabilia there, like, you know.
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame that there wasn't actually any. You know, we talk about belts. Like there was no like wrestling T-shirts or nothing. You know what I mean? Like if you hadn't come prepared to get something signed, like there was nothing you could have bought really to get signed as such.
It's the thing. Although I think, and we never went for a signature, so I can't guarantee this, but I think they had stuff on the desk that you could buy.
Yeah, they must have just had pictures. I think. That you could have signed. Like we contemplated going to get Bret to sign one of the copies of ours, didn't we? Because we ended up with 2 of Bret, didn't we? So we got one each, which was nice.
Camera lady was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. Basically,
A2theK 2.
Little handy tip for you is when they say, "Are you ready?" and you say yeah, and then you realise, shit, I haven't put me fist in the fist pose. If you're in motion at the time you do it, they look at it and go, "Oh, that's a bit blurry."
Take every picture like that. But then they give you both anyway.
Then they go, that's a bit blurry, try and try that again. And then your second one, you sound, so then you get 2 copies. So that's what I recommend. So just basically when they go, are you ready? Just go, yeah. And then just have like a bit of a moment and then just take it again. You'll be safe.
There you go. Carl giving you a Comic-Con hack. Someone just bitching about you later on. Like, I tried this at Comic-Con. All the pictures are blurry. Fuck you, Carl.
I said do it for the first one and then give the blurry one to, someone else. So obviously we had them 2, and then we had a little bit of time, didn't we, before the Britt Baker photo op. So this is when we got to kind of walk the floor a little bit.
Yeah, so we got to fully explore. We got some food, which was nice, but again, typically with these places is a rip-off, but you don't want to hear about the food. But we did, Carl, meet Grant Perkins.
Yes, we did.
And we had a nice little chat with the guy. And we could not resist getting some of his fabulous artwork, which Carl will show you now.
I'm trying to think which one should we start with. Should we start?
We had some heavy debate. We'll start with the oldest first, I think.
Old school.
So we had some heavy debate what ones to get. We ended up getting 3. So we got old school WWE. So obviously Carl's been a wrestling fan since 1992, so this one meant a fair bit to Carl. You got a lot of you'll recognise. Obviously, you can see the polka dots a mile away, so you can recognise Cody's dad there. We've got a few people in there, Carl. You can see Andre in there. But Vader at the front there, he's catching my eye. Ric Flair, all sorts going on there. But I think just like a nice little display of like all these different, all that era basically, or as many as possible. I'm sure there might be some missing, but Carl might be able to attest to that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic collection. To be fair, of people, it's interesting though because it does span quite a few eras at the same time because you've got like your 1992, like obviously your Ric Flair and your Perfect and your Hogan, your Warrior and stuff, but it's also got, as you said, the likes of Vader's in there, Jerry the King Lawler's in there, Mabel's in there. So it does span.
It's hard not to span eras though, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So many people have been in the business so long. Like you could put Undertaker in like every single one of them, you know.
Yeah, that is true to be fair. But obviously it's got our pal the Genius. It's cool to look and be like, who have we interviewed?
Just start circling them out. Yeah.
It's got Bulldog, obviously spoken to Georgia. Yeah. So obviously it's nice.
Yeah.
You know to have these.
So we started out with that one. And then we couldn't resist. We thought, well, we'll go with our sort of teenage. Oh, hang on.
Sorry, Adam Bomb. Another one.
Oh, we've interviewed Adam Bomb.
Just
sadly, we won't see DDP in there.
No.
We've got DDP, but not in that one. Funnily enough. So then, obviously, we thought, well, we can't. We'll plan this out right. So we went with our teenage years, Carl, when wrestling was at its fever pitch. We went for an Attitude Era one. So there's where you're going to see the likes of Kane, and you're going to see Kurt Angle, and was that Shawn Michaels there? It's catching my eye. So we thought perfect. We'll go with that one. And again, just have a nice little look at he's fantastic. I believe he's done some comics. He doesn't just do wrestling stuff. Fantastic artist. We'll link you to his social media.
He's done. He basically did WWE comics, didn't he? So like the comic books that came out, he was the artist for WWE.
Really nice fella as well, to be fair. We'll talk about that in a sec. So the last one we thought it's only right, we'll get some and I think this is the one that caught my eye, to be fair, initially. But we got AEW, and surprisingly, this is where we get DDP. So we can pick him off the list because DDP has been in AEW, not permanently, but he's been there. He's had a match there.
There he is.
There he is. DDP yoga top and everything. But you can see Orange Cassidy, you see the current incarnation. Well, not even this not Big Money Matt. We got the proper Matt.
Proper Matt.
So again, fantastic bit of artwork and from a very current product. So we thought that'd be the nice third one to get. So those are the three we've got. They're going to go up in the studio, and we're going to enjoy them forever. But though Grant Perkins himself, though, Carl, like. This for me was a bit of an unexpected one, but a really good chat. So he was talking about, like you say, about doing the comics and about his sort of time, and we're just having a bit of a chat about some of the other artwork he's done and stuff. But just really affable fella, wasn't he? Really nice guy.
Yeah, definitely. He even said as well, like, oh, obviously, like picked up on our hoodies and stuff like that we were wearing. He was like, oh, obviously, you guys will be keen on looking at this wrestling book then and stuff like that, and chatting to him about wrestling for a little bit. So
because initially we went over because he had the AEW one up, didn't he? He was out.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know he had a book. And honestly, we probably could have bought every one of them if we had the money. They were all fantastic, and he just loads of different options. I think he had one that was specifically like the Hart family and stuff like that as well, didn't he? Like,
yeah,
there was loads of different ones he'd done, and they were
how much did it end up being? Because he had a deal, didn't he? It was like basically there's so much each, or you can get three for a certain amount, which is why we opted for the three.
I can't remember. And
it was like 30 quid or 40 quid or something. It wasn't too bad, to be fair.
Maybe 30. I want to say 30.
Maybe.
Yeah. In any case, signed all of them and all fantastic. And yeah, as I say, just if you've ever had a Comic-Con that he's at, it'd be worth having a chat with the man because he's like you say, he's an interesting guy. Honestly, I was saying this to Carl after the fact. I'd love to speak to him like in some depth about his time with WWE and what he's done, because I imagine he's got some stories to tell there.
Absolutely. I mean, maybe we should try and get him on the show.
Well, I would. I think that might be a good shout. We mentioned that we saw him at Wales Comic Con, and we thought it'd be worth a chat with him.
Yeah, why the hell not?
We've done it before. We've been behind the mask. Let's go behind the artwork.
Oh, I like it. I like that.
Hey. So that I think that was a bit of an unexpected one because I didn't expect to run into Grant Perkins, didn't expect to sort of have that sort of conversation and that sort of artwork. So I enjoyed that bit, and I would recommend sort of if he is at any Comic-Con in the future for anyone who's going, certainly look him up. He's got a website and everything, so we'll link to all that sort of stuff. But yeah, definitely one to check out. So we covered our break, Carl, and then we met the wonderful DMD Britt Baker. As you can see, title belt in hand as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, fantastic. I don't know why I didn't smile in that picture. Looking very serious. But there you go.
Yeah, she was lovely, wasn't she? I think a testament to how old me and Anthony are is by this point, after such a long day of standing in a lot of lines, we were fucking aching everywhere. My back was killing me. Your knees were shot.
Yeah. She's actually not that tall. Just Carl and I couldn't stand up properly anymore.
I mean, I wish that was the reason. I actually had an excuse. She's tall. She's taller than me. God damn it.
Honestly, if she'd have had that I assume bun. I don't know how you name hairstyle. If she'd had the hair much higher, she'd have been taller than me.
Yeah, ridiculous. But, me and Adam Cole are meant to be the same height of 5'8", aren't we? So I don't know how that works then. That's all I'm saying.
That's it. But again, I like because obviously she is a heel currently, but you know what? She was so made up to be there. She's so lovely with everyone, as you should be, really. But it's not like if that was MJF, he'd have kept a kayfabe. He'd probably spat us.
That's what's so funny. It's so jarring. Is that like when we walked in and she was like, "Hi," and stuff like that, and I was just like, "Why aren't you being horrible?" It's mad.
I think what I took from it as well, and I may be reading something that wasn't there. You might disagree with me, Carl, but she seemed almost a little bit in awe of it, and I don't think I don't know if she's done a lot of these, but I think she was sort of not overwhelmed per se, but I think she was taken in just how many people just wanted to come and see and get a picture with her. Do you know what I mean? I think she was very touched by it all, to be honest with you. Yeah. And obviously her star is rising, so she's probably finding that fame's happening very quickly. Mm-hmm. Which is where I'm probably speculating, but I don't know. I saw that more in her than I did the other two. Do you know what I mean? Where she just seemed to really be soaking in just how many fans she actually has.
Yeah, I think as well, considering she was towards the end of the day and everything had been so delayed and there was a massive queue and we were waiting for ages to actually get in there and stuff like that. She had a massive turnout, didn't she? So fair play. But no, yeah, she was absolutely lovely. Someone we overheard, basically, she was saying that Tony is definitely looking to bring AEW over to Fulham, Craven Cottage Stadium next year. So we will potentially get AEW in the UK. It's a shame it's not a bit more local to us.
Yeah,
but
I mean, hopefully he decides to do a little bit of a tour instead of just coming to one location.
Well, exactly. If he does a tour and it's local, we'll definitely be there.
And I probably shouldn't say this because I'm not an Evertonian, but they might even have the new stadium by the time you tour. Be a nice venue there.
Yeah, no chance we're gonna have the fucking stadium by then. But no, I think if they come somewhat local, like Liverpool, Manchester way or whatever, there's no question we're going to be there. If they only come over to Craven Cottage, then I'd still like to go, to be fair.
It's just a bit of a trek, isn't it?
It's a bit of a trek, but maybe get the train down or something, maybe even stay over or something like that, so it's less of a hassle.
Do a training day.
Yeah. I reckon you know what? If we do that, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get a hotel. We're going to stay over, and then we don't have to rush around and panic or not.
Try and run into some wrestlers in the bar, because that was another funny anecdote when we were heading down. You were looking at Britt's social media because you're like a stalker. By all accounts, she went out and had a good few drinks the night before.
Oh my god, that was so funny. And so obviously,
the thought of running into the likes of Air and Luchasaurus and the gang, just in a bar is crazy. But fair play.
Yeah, imagine that. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, she was on it the night before. She was getting absolutely smashed. So why not?
Yeah, we were joking she's got to be hungover. She wasn't.
If she was, you could never tell. I mean, so unfortunately, we also did have tickets to meet Melina Perez, but I think basically because of, and again, not shitting on it, but because of how organisational wise and the delay and things overrunning, it just basically wasn't feasible for us to actually stay and try and wait.
Yeah. Because we even checked and it was we were already, I think, half an hour past the original meet time. Yeah. And then we were like, how long's it going to be? And they were like,
there was two other people in front of us still.
Yeah, and
so
it was
just
yeah, sadly it just got to a point, and we would love to have met her, but it just got to a point it was well, we can't really do it. No. And I feel bad for her because she was, I think, literally one of the last, and we weren't the only ones who had to leave, so she deserved a better turnout, and she probably still got a hell of a turnout, don't get me wrong, but she'd have got a bigger turnout had it been kept to the times it was, but
yeah, definitely. But yeah, a joke, because obviously we got to see a couple of the pictures that she took, and she had sunglasses on. So I wonder whether Britt drunk her under the table a little bit that night before. Maybe.
Well, as you know, Carl, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory way, but as you know, hangovers hit differently when you're above 30.
Well, this is true. Yeah, we've both been there. So yeah, so I mean, all in all, though, hell of a fun day. I managed.
Some people did the whole weekend, didn't they? And Kenny was there on the Sunday.
I know. I'm a bit gutted about that. I would have loved to meet Kenny, but hopefully he confirms for Liverpool next year. Kenny. But yeah, I mean, hopefully. That's one annoying thing about it, which we should probably say, is we opted for the Saturday because Sting was originally scheduled for the Saturday, and then Kenny was booked as only for the Sunday, but Sting cancelled and they never replaced him.
And our original plan was we'll see Sting because Kenny's coming to For the Love of Wrestling, so we'll get our opportunity with Kenny.
Yeah.
And that was the plan.
And it didn't go to plan, did it?
Sting cancelled.
So yeah.
And like say, they didn't replace him, sadly.
No. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into potential, stuff around that and reasons why and stuff like that. But I think I'm not sure if he's vaccinated, basically, Sting. So I'm not sure he was ever able to come over.
Well, I think because I don't think we're savvy enough with the whole travel restrictions and whether he could have, but that's what we've heard on the grapevine. It was the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the Sting thing stunk really, but.
But then obviously me and Anthony were obviously looking around the whole venue and stuff like that, and another nice saving grace is my little boy's obsessed with Mario, so we managed to get a little souvenir as well at the end, little Toad teddy thing which he's made up with. So all in all, I would say we got to meet Bret Hart, who's the best to ever do it, Britt Baker, our rookie of the year in the A2theK knees last year, for God's sake. Like, she's absolutely killing it. And Luchasaurus was just an absolute gent as well, such a nice guy. So we got that. We got to meet Grant Perkins, got a load of artwork, had the Game of Thrones experience as well, so it wasn't all about wrestling.
No. And again, if you're into it, like, there was all sorts there. You could have sat in the Back to the Future car. Lightning McQueen was there. There was loads going on. If like a lot of like heavy Star Wars stuff as well, but I don't think it. I've seen Star Wars. I like it, but I'm not a massive fan. So some of that was lost on me. But there's absolutely tons there. Would definitely recommend to anyone, not even just for wrestling fans, but for anyone who's just a fan of like sci-fi or anything like that, really, anything comic related. Like, again, if you're a massive comic guy, like, there was tons of stalls selling loads of single issue comics and stuff like that. Like, I read comics, but like, I'm not a collector per se. But honestly, if you're into that, like, absolutely, you could have gone to absolute town on the stalls they had there. Really could have.
Yeah, definitely. And so I think all in all, I would say our first Comic-Con experience was a mostly positive one, to be fair.
Indeed.
I think
I'm not going to lie. I know we shouldn't bring it up when we're talking about Wales Comic Con. I am super excited for the Love of Wrestling.
Yeah, massively excited for it. I think
I'm going to have to. Like, I can't wait to meet Georgia, and I can't wait to see some of that memorabilia of her dad's. That's going to be nice.
Hall of Fame ring as well. Hall of Fame ring, as she confirmed. But I think one thing is for sure is I need to fucking do yoga or something before April next year.
DDP, help us.
I know, like, honestly, Dally, help you boys out. But I was proper aching, like, just from standing up all day. You would never think it. I don't know whether it's just because we're old as balls now. I honestly don't know. But my back was absolutely killing me by the end of the day. So, and we've got a significantly more photo ops for the Love of Wrestling. And I mean, I'm now thinking, like, how are we going to fit all these in a little bit, to be honest, as well as taking the day. Because we've got so many.
Because there's a lot of because you queue and you spend a fair bit of time in those queues, understandably so. But like you say, how do you soak in the day as well? If we'd have had every photo op that we booked for Wales Comic Con, I'm not sure we'd have been looking around the floor.
No chance.
Lesson learned there as well.
Yeah. But I think, obviously, fun times, had with me best mates. We get to go down to Wales, fun in the car, snacks, good tunes, reminiscing about old times. Talked about all sorts, didn't we? But like music and wrestling and life and things. And then obviously got to go around to meet some legends. So all in all, a fantastic day, I think.
Oh yeah, no, totally enjoyed. Would highly recommend. As I say, I know I mentioned a few little gripes here and there, but I'm sure these sort of things, when you're trying to organise something so massive, I'm sure these things crop up all the time. Yeah. So they weren't a particularly big drawback, but obviously we're being honest about our experience there in our first Comic-Con. So yeah, definitely would recommend. Good fun. Can't wait for Takeover 2.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so that was Wales Comic-Con, and this is the A2theK Wrestling Show. So thank you for checking it out. Also, you can check out the Ringside Report for the latest news, including Jeff Hardy's WWE release, which has happened just mere hours ago, as well as obviously all the latest thoughts around this week in wrestling. Check us out on Pro Wrestling Tees, buy our merch and all that good stuff. Social-wise, you know where to find us everywhere. And then, obviously, if you're watching this, we always say, listen to us as well. We're available on an audio medium, so when you're commuting to work, if that's a thing, if you're not, work from home if you can, good laws that are in place at the minute, then check us out there. Or if you're listening to this now and you find yourself a bit of free time in front of the telly, check us out on YouTube as well. So you can see the awesome pictures that we showed and the awesome artwork from Grant.
You know what, guys? We know, Christmas is coming up. We get that. You're gonna have some free time. The family. You're saying like, I've done the family stuff. I just need some time for myself. What better way to treat yourself than listening to our what do we call our Christmas segment again? Carl, I've fucking ruined this.
Our Seasons Beatings.
Our Seasons Beatings episode, which will be coming up. So obviously, enjoy your Christmas break and enjoy it with A2theK.
Fucking love it. Love that. Look at that. Hey. You smooth little
motherfucker.
Am I listening to Smooth FM? That's what it feels like. So until next time, guys, catch you on the flip side. Here is the one and only Thunder Rosa to say goodbye this week. Bye.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa, and you're watching or listening A2theK. A2theK. A2theK.